I ran into the owner on the first one, so I know he was here.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
11.
Do you want to start with?
I'll start with Mr. Hankinen first, in case any of the neighbors are going to show up.
Okay.
Okay. I'm assuming you folks are all here on the couple to the right?
No.
No?
The ones that aren't here yet.
Okay. I would ask that anybody who is going to testify today on any hearing, anyone who is here already, that you all stand up and be sworn. That would include all three of you and you folks if you intend to make a statement. I would ask that you all promise to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay, thank you. And I would make the same introductory statement that would cover both pending petitions for the petitioners who are present. My name is Michael McHenry. I am the hearing officer. It's my duty to conduct this hearing. And I'm required to make a recommendation on the evidence that is presented today. If I approve the request that is before this hearing today, it then goes to the county board, and a majority of the county board members who are in attendance at that hearing, that's all that would be needed for them to approve it. My recommendation today is simply that the county board is the one that would make the final approval. If I were to deny the request, the county board would then need to make a 3/4 finding to be in favor of it for it to be approved. And I would ask that everybody here treat each other with respect. We now have number 3. Still not number 1. So Mr. Hankinen, would you state your name and spell your last name for the record, please?
Brandon Hankinen, P-A-N-K-O-N-I-N.
And what are you hoping to do today?
Well, looking to replace my existing garage with a new one in the same location, 4.79 feet from the northern lot line.
And do you have an aerial of this one?
There's this one here. I'll bring up the site plan.
Okay. Is there an existing garage on the property right now?
Yep.
And you're going to replace that?
Yes.
And what will be the difference in terms of how close it is to the lot line from where it is now?
Nothing will change. The northern wall will stay in the same space it is now. We're moving 2 feet wider south, and I think it's 12 feet east. So it's just going to be a bigger structure. That northern wall will not change.
And is he required to get a permit for this?
He's already obtained a permit.
So he has already applied for the permit?
Yes.
I have it with me.
All right. And he applied for that before he started any potential
Yes.
construction?
Yes.
Thank you for that. Kind of unusual. Have you talked to your neighbors about what you're hoping to do?
I have letters of recommendation from 2 of them.
Can I see those, please?
This is from my neighbors to the north, and this is my neighbor west across the street.
Trade you. Hang on to that for a second. Now you're asking if these to be made part of the record?
Yes.
Aren't you? Yes, yes. Okay. And I did hand you a list of things that must be considered, so I would ask if you would pay attention to what I am reading to you. Isn't it true that the particular surrounding shape or topographical condition of the specific property involved would result in a particular hardship upon the owner as distinguished from a mere inconvenience if the strict letter of the regulations were carried out. Isn't that true?
Yes.
And you need this because you need additional storage space for your property, and you're not really changing any of the encroachment onto the lot line. Is that correct?
Yes.
And isn't it also true that the conditions upon which the application for a variation are based are unique to the property for which the variation is sought and are not generally applicable to other property within the same zoning district? Isn't that true?
Yes.
How long has this existing garage been present on the property?
From what I can tell, 61 when the house was built.
And there were probably different zoning rules in place at that time, is that correct?
I'm very sure.
Would you concur with that, Kim?
Yes.
And is it also true that the proposed variation is not based exclusively upon a desire to increase the monetary gain realized from the property? Isn't that true? And is it also true that the alleged difficulty or hardship is caused by the ordinance and has not been created by you presently being the owner of the property? Isn't that true? You must answer audibly yes or no. And again, the zoning ordinance has changed from when this house was originally constructed, correct?
Yes.
And isn't it also true that the granting of the variation will not be detrimental to the public welfare or injurious to other property or improvements in the neighborhood in which the property is located? Isn't that true?
It will not.
And in fact, your neighbors are in agreement with what you are requesting to do today, correct? And isn't it also true that the proposed variation will not impair an adequate supply of light and or air to adjacent property or substantially increase the congestion of the public streets or increase the danger of fire or endanger the public safety or substantially diminish or impair property values within the adjacent neighborhood? Isn't that true?
Yes.
If anything, this will improve the property values of your property and also favorably affect the property in your neighbor's area, correct?
Yes.
Isn't it true that the granting of the variation requested will not confer on you, the applicant, any special privilege that is denied by this ordinance to other land or structure in the same zoning district? Isn't that true?
It is true.
If your neighbors had a similar situation and were to make a similar request, would you be in favor of their request or would you be against it?
I would be in favor.
And do you have any comments to add?
I don't. We have no objection to the request.
Okay. And the addition that you're seeking would be farther away from the front lot line of the property, correct? You're extending further back?
Extending the building, yes, the west wall will stay in the same location.
Okay. But any sight line for anyone driving on the road would not be adversely affected by this?
No, it will not.
And would not adversely affect any light to your neighbor's property?
No, it will not.
Okay. All right. I would also be in favor of this request. It's a fairly simple, straightforward request. The zoning rules have changed from when this was originally constructed. The neighbors are not against it. They, in fact, are in favor of it. So this would go to the county board with a recommendation for approval. When would that meeting be?
That would be on June 17th
And that would be at what time?
at 7 p.m.
You do not have to be in attendance. You are entitled to go there. In all likelihood, this would be on what's called the consent agenda, and they would approve it with a group of other matters. But you certainly have the right to go there. Okay?
Yep.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Move on to
We'll do the one with most of the witnesses here.
so the Mineral Springs.
Yes.
That one.
And then, I'm sorry, which one is that again?
That is Davis, 044.
Okay.
Did you guys want to move over to the side? You can go when you're ready.
Thank you for your trouble.
You guys. Sorry. Morning.
Okay, so you are the Davises?
Yes.
And you're responsible for the gathering? Are you folks here on Davis? Okay. You've been previously sworn, correct? Or you came in after?
I think you came in after we did the swearing in, right? Yep.
Yep. Would you please stand up to be sworn? Promise to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. Please take a seat. Can you tell us what you're hoping to do?
We're looking to take a home, a 1935 home that was built, and bring it up to code and to add a garage and add an addition onto the home.
And how long have you owned this property?
Since 2020, I believe.
Okay. And can you describe the addition you're hoping to do?
We're looking to add a two-car garage attached. We currently don't have a garage. And we're looking to add a great room onto the back of the house.
Okay, when you say add, are you going to keep the existing structure and
Yeah.
simply add on to that?
Well, we're gonna leave the north wall, I believe the north wall, and we're gonna leave the front wall, the west wall. A portion of it.
Of the east.
Okay, so when you say you're gonna put an addition on the back, it sounds like you're doing a lot more than simply
Yeah, that's
addition
it.
on the back.
Yeah, we're removing the sunroom and the deck and putting a addition where that is existing now. We have to take part of our house off and then put the addition back on.
Okay. If my memory is correct, I would describe this as kind of a Cape Cod style house.
California bungalow, whatever it is.
Where is your septic currently located?
It's all over the place. Currently, it's in front of the house, and then the laterals go south and then west.
This was I think an unconforming. It's got a dry well in the backyard, on the riverside, and it's got all the gray water is being dumped somewhere else into the lot.
Okay. And where is your well? I'm assuming you're on
Next to the river, down towards the river, which I guess you consider front of the home.
Okay. Kim, what is the situation regarding installation of a new septic?
Have you applied with
We're
the?
approved.
Yes, we
Okay,
have.
they haven't been approved by the health department already. The proposed location is what's shown on the site plan here.
That is the only location. We hired Raver to come in and make the septic design because we didn't know what we were able to do. So that was one of the very first things that we had to do is get a septic designer to actually plot out and design where we could even put a septic. We currently do not have a dishwasher or washing machine in the home. And that's another reason, again, we need to upgrade the actual septic.
All the plumbing's got to be changed, all the electrical,
Everything.
it's got cast iron pipes in there.
In terms of the lot, is it relatively level, or will you need any kind of injector pump to get it to the?
My lot is 100% out of the floodplain. I have a very unique lot. I'm about 15 feet above the floodplain.
Right, and you would have the requisite distance from the well,
Yep.
and you do not intend to put a new well in?
Nope.
Okay. And how many people are currently living in the property?
2.
And is that going to be the same situation?
Yep, we don't have any children. No, we have nobody.
Okay. And have they applied for a building permit?
No.
No, not for the building as yet, because we had to go in stages first to find out where we could even put a septic and to allow us to even have a washing machine and a dishwasher in order to accommodate the waste. And then
We have ALA, we hired ALA, they've done these drawings, they've done drawings, but we can't file for anything, we thought, until we go through this process. And what we're asking for is the variance on the 2-car garage to be closer to the property line.
Okay. And as of right now, there is no existing garage?
No.
Not at all.
Okay, how close would the garage be to the lot line if this were to be?
4 feet,
Sorry?
4 feet.
Okay. And Kim, what is the minimum that's required?
It's 5 feet on the sides, however, because this is in the legacy neighborhood overlay district, there's a combined setback requirement between the two sides of 15. So they're asking for variation from 5 feet on each one of the sides that is not going to comply, but also as a whole between the two will not be 15.
Okay, but the garage would be closer to the park, is that correct?
Correct.
And that would require 5 feet, and reference the garage would only be 4 feet.
Correct, plus an overhang which brought it to 1 foot 6 inches.
In terms of a potential administrative adjustment, what would that have been?
Only a 10% variance would be allowed under an administrative variance, so they did not qualify for that.
Okay, that would have been a half a foot.
Right.
And they're seeking roughly 1.5 feet on the
Correct.
garage. Okay. I'm assuming that your neighbors have a clue as to what you're doing.
The neighbor on the right-hand side has been told, but we've been going only out there part-time. I guess these are our neighbors. We have a lot next to us that's the community lot. So,
It's not a community lot, it's on our
It's
deed,
a private
it's part of our
You can't be
property.
speaking right now, sorry.
There is a vacant lot next to
yes.
it. And what direction is that? As I'm facing the back end of your house, is that off to the left?
South side.
It'd be, if you're facing us, it'd be off on the left, yes.
And you presume that to be a community park, correct?
What says ownership of Clement Lodge homeowners association, which they don't have a homeowners association. Nobody's in charge over there, or we don't know. Nothing's been filed with the county that who's in charge.
And any of the neighbors that you've talked to been in favor of your request? And if so, who are those neighbors?
I'm at 515 Mineral Springs Drive,
Okay.
and my wife is also okay.
Were you previously sworn?
I wasn't.
Okay. For the record, would you state your name, please?
Thomas Cargie, C-A-R-G-I-E.
And where do you live in reference to the subject property?
We are 3 houses to the north, on the same side, on the riverside.
Okay. And you have a relatively newer house, do you not?
No, we got to be probably the oldest house on the block.
Okay. But to the north of the subject property, there are some newer
Yes.
homes, are there not?
Immediately north of the house is, that house is probably 20 years old.
Okay. How long have you lived in the area?
We own the house since 98, 99, I'm sorry.
There do appear to be at least 1 or 2 newer homes north of the subject property. Would you agree?
Yes, sir.
Do you know when that second home was constructed?
I'm going to say roughly late 80s, early 90s.
Okay, so you weren't there when that home.
But coincidentally enough, my wife's parents did live there. They've been there since 87. So I've gone up there since 87.
So are you in favor of the request or are you against the request?
In favor of the request.
Okay. And your wife?
Not
No, that's not my wife's work.
I'm another neighbor.
Okay. I'm
Not
not
the
doing very
wife.
well here. I should have known by the way you were looking at him. So we'll get to you in just a moment.
No worries.
The 2 newer houses that were north of the subject property, are those detrimental to the neighborhood or are they?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. We do have some other things that we need to go through, so I would like to talk to the neighbors who are here. You appear to know quite a bit about this, so I asked.
Actually, I'm gonna say Maria is the most knowledgeable.
I'd like to find out about this ownership of the lot.
Okay, so on every single one of our deeds, it shows that it was deeded to all of us.
Sure, name for the record, I'm sorry, there's a transcript. So
Connie Marsh.
Okay.
And Connie, where do you live?
I live at 520 Mineral Springs. I'm part of the Clement Lodge neighborhood. So I'm across the street from the river.
Okay, I'm assuming the Clement Lodge goes back to some time in the past, considerably in the past.
Yes.
Is there still a Clement Lodge in effect?
Yes,
Mhm.
we are,
Yes.
we're all,
So are we, where it's on our deed too.
To you, what is the Clement Lodge then?
Well, it's our neighborhood. We all work together to keep the beach lot mowed, we clean up the leaves, we do all the work on the lot.
Okay, I sometimes think of lodges as being like the moose.
No, we're just homeowners. We're just homeowners.
One of the streets is called Clement
Yes,
Lodge.
one of the streets is called Clement Lodge.
We have
So
a
it's
picture of
more of
the
a
lodge.
neighborhood association that all owns a piece of the
Yes.
subject to vacant
Yes,
property.
we are all joint owners and we all jointly take care of it.
Do you have annual meetings regarding the neighborhood?
We talk together and we arrange when it's gonna be cut and everything.
I'm sorry, we have a transcript being
Oh.
taken, so if you speak, can you say your name?
Carol Buss.
Okay, thank you.
I would ask it, we do this one at a time, so we have a clean record. To your knowledge, do you have annual actual meetings and do you elect officers of this lodge?
We do not have annual meetings. We have left it to Maria to take charge. She comes to all of us and lets us know what's happening, and we pay her, and she takes care of all the maintenance.
Okay. So the meetings you have would be of an informal nature, is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Do you elect officers or officials of any kind?
We don't feel that's necessary because we all agree and we all work together.
So when they reference part of lot 9, is that the vacant lot?
Which one is the lot? Because there was,
Did you own lot 8 and part of lot 9?
that might be my property.
Oh, that's ours.
Oh, okay, mine and
We share
Carol's.
half a lot.
I believe it's lots 13 and 17. Which one is the,
The half,
no, which one is the beach lot that's next
Oh.
door to their house? Is it 13 or 17?
I don't know. Let me see.
Okay, with the deed that you've handed to me, can you identify what portion of this document refers to the vacant property that's owned by the Clement Lodge?
Can I come up on it?
And you can point to the screen if you need to as well.
17. 17.
Okay, so my deed,
To be honest, I don't see reference to it.
unless I don't have the whole thing, unless I didn't bring the right piece of paper, but on all of our deeds, it does reference the beach lot.
Okay, but yours doesn't.
Lot 8 and part 1 Clement Lodge. Okay, then we have to get the right deeds.
Does anybody else have a different deed that purports to show the ownership of the vacant lot?
I didn't bring my deed because.
Go ahead, ask.
We only brought one, so.
I have, because this happened in 2005. There was another beach lot and they're lots 13 and 17 are our beach lots and we all signed, yes. And we all signed, I mean, some of the neighbors have changed, but we all signed that we don't want these things happening.
Do you want me to do it?
Can you have a copy of that also?
Yeah, do you want me to go do it now?
If you could. You'll need the original back. I'm not trying to be argumentative, but technically your deed does not show that ownership.
It is in there. We don't have it with us, but it is in, if you were to look up all of our properties in the Clement Lodge neighborhood, it is part of Clement Lodge.
I'm not disputing that, but technically your document doesn't show that. That would be the official deed that was recorded when you purchased that property. Regarding their request, what is your opinion?
We don't want anybody taking over that beach lot. It is for us.
We don't want it.
We don't want it.
We don't want it.
Don't. We'll get to you in just a moment. When you say take over, they're simply asking to be a couple of feet closer to it. They're not asking to take over the lot. So can you be more specific?
My understanding is that they're planning on putting a pool on it, which they have not mentioned here today.
Okay, that technically wouldn't be part of this hearing. What we're really focused on is the expansion and getting a little bit closer to the lot line on the one side. We'll get to you, ma'am. Regarding the garage being closer to the lot line that is by the vacant lot, what is your opinion regarding that request?
No,
Okay, why are you against that?
because if we give a little bit, then I feel like more is going to be taken.
They can't. I mean, this would be,
What if we decided one day that we wanted to build something on it, then we wouldn't have room for it?
when you say we build something.
Us as a community, us as joint neighbors that are, that lot was deeded to us, if we wanted something for us on it, we wouldn't be able to because they've infringed on it already.
You're not really infringing. Infringing means that they're actually over their property line onto the vacant lot. Their request is that it be a little bit closer to the lot line, that they would be basically 1.5 feet closer to it, and of which some of that would be the overhang. Do you have anything else that you wish to add today?
No, I just, that all of us on Clement Lodge are against this.
Okay. And part of the reason why you're against it is because you are fearful that they may want to install a pool, is that correct? Kind of in the middle. Yes, would you state your name for the record, please?
My name is Maria Mockstead, and I just feel that because he's asking for this variance, to the south of our beach lot is a 20-foot pinned parcel of land. So if Clement Lodge decided that they would like to sell this property, whoever purchased it would be restricted to their size of a house. And also, part of their view would be gone because of the size of this and the garage. So it kind of puts a damper on what we want to do.
Kim, if you know, is the vacant lot potentially a buildable lot?
Yes, it is, sir.
It would be, it would still need to meet all of the requirements as far as septic suitability and floodplain, all of that, but as long as they can get a septic system out there, it would be potentially buildable for residents.
Has there been any discussion by the neighbors in this area of doing just that, building on the vacant lot?
We've discussed it. We've never come to an agreement yet, but it has been discussed with Clement Lodge residents. And it might not be tomorrow, but maybe in 2 years. It's still gonna put a damper on the minimum, the size of the structure that the next person that buys the lot. Because of the 20-foot lot next to us to the south, that kind of puts, we wouldn't be able to go onto their property.
Well, no one's allowed to go on anybody else's.
No, I mean, we wouldn't be able to have an overhang or anything on that. That parcel of land is used only to access their pier to the river. It's not buildable, as you know, and it just would take away from what we wanted to do if we wanted to sell the lot.
You said it's not buildable. What were you referring to?
The 20-foot parcel to the south of us.
If you look at the aerial
Between our
photo, you can
homes,
see
between our lot and the next home, there's a 20-foot parcel and it's pinned.
see the white lines there? That's the lot she's referring to.
There's one that says beach lot.
So is that a separate legal?
Yes.
So without that 20-foot parcel, is the other vacant parcel buildable?
Yes. Again, pending septic suitability.
Okay.
Which the house across the street has the well, and it won't, they're gonna have the same problem as us.
Correct.
And the house next door, Larson's, their septic's in the back, in the
Big
the
white
back,
thing.
so they aren't, that lot will not be buildable unless they get some type of
Variances.
septic and variances.
Exactly.
They're gonna have the same problem.
Same situation we're
Can
gonna
you
be.
blow it back up again a little bit? Okay. Is the owner of the property next to that 20-foot parcel here today?
Are they what, sir?
No.
They're not here
No.
today,
They're
no.
not here.
They're not in Clement Lodge, no.
Kim, that house looks like that's fairly close to the lot line.
Yeah, the map lines can be off by a little bit. I'd have to pull a plat of survey to see exactly how close it is, but it does appear to be fairly close.
Dave bought it from the Steiner house.
We may or may not vote on this today. Is it possible to find out how close that is? Because that looks to be closer than 5 feet.
Yes, I can find that out.
Okay.
If you wanted to take a short recess, I can look it up today, or if you wanted to continue, I can be prepared with that information.
Does anybody here among the neighbors know whether or not that house that is south of the 20-foot parcel, whether that's within 5 feet of the lot line or not?
It's closer.
I'm Britt Schober, and I think it's more like 10.
Okay. All right. We will find out. So you're concerned that at some point you may want to develop the vacant lot, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
With the request that they're making, you understand that everything would still be on their property. It wouldn't, I don't quite see how it impacts your vacant lot.
Because I thought it had to be 5 feet from the next property.
Unknown caller.
Okay, and with the variance he's asking for, it wouldn't be.
But then that would make it legal. It would be a legal variance.
Right, but if I wanted to build on that, on our lot, I wouldn't be able to get that variance.
You possibly could.
Possibly, but doesn't make it, doesn't make for sure. That's possibly,
Possibly may not build on that lot.
possibly.
And at the rate that I'm going, I'll still be working another 20 years here. And I'm here for this.
Well, plus the fact they bought this house knowing what it was.
Exactly.
They bought it knowing it didn't have a dishwasher, knowing it didn't have a washer and dryer. They bought it because they wanted the river view. So, I mean, they got what they bought.
Wouldn't you?
But,
Sorry.
but that doesn't make it right. That's,
Understood.
Yeah, before,
I mean, we all had old houses there.
There's over 100, yeah.
the two to the north.
I don't think any of them are newer than the 80s. I don't believe that, and I'm probably the oldest resident there. So, I mean, my sister lived there before me, and there weren't that many new houses ever there.
Before I had this position, I was on the county zoning board of appeals, so I've been involved with zoning for over 20 years. In my neighborhood in Lake Geneva, they wanted me to be on a commission. That's the guy we're looking for. Just take a seat if you could. Yeah. But they wanted me to be on this commission because they wanted to make sure that people didn't build houses that were too nice in the neighborhood. I kept thinking that's sort of odd. I would rather that people build more expensive houses.
But then it also affects our taxes too, the people that don't have the, because anytime more houses go up and they get bigger and bigger, it affects the neighborhood that way too.
And maybe you should purchase a home in an area where there are these types of homes already. Rather than, I mean, there's a lot of retired people by us. There's a lot of people that have small children that can't afford the taxes to keep going up. And this, all these new structures that they wanna do only brings burdens on those people.
Okay. Are either of the two of you over 65?
I'm 78.
And I'm 74.
Have you, okay. Have you done the senior freeze on your taxes?
But even then,
They
taxes
still
don't go
go
up.
Okay. I'm sorry. And the second one, can you state your name and what you wish to say?
Britta Schoberg. Yeah. Phil said to me and Maria that there was tree branches on the lot that was blocking his view of the river. Phil asked if he could remove them at his expense. After getting approval, we gave him permission to do that. Phil said that he seeded and fertilized the beach lot. He only did that because the trucks that he hired removing the trees damaged the lawn and made huge ruts in the lot. Phil said that the improvements he made to the beach lot was done for Clement Lodge HOA. There is no HOA Clement Lodge. The prior HOA was Mineral Springs Clement Lodge and Craver Crest HOA, which was dissolved in 2014. Phil said he planted plants to beautify the beach lot. If the beach lot did not meet his standards, maybe he should have instead put up a privacy fence. Clement Lodge residents were totally against this variance.
Not totally. We have at least one person here.
I'm not actually Clement Lodge, I'm
Oh, you're not.
McHenry. I'm on the
Mineral
Middle
Springs.
Springs.
All right. In fact, that statement, we have an intruder.
He's Mineral Springs, he's at Clement Lodge.
We have a picture of the lot, if you'd like to see it.
I have seen it. I
Okay.
have personally been out there. I wish my memory were better.
And it does have a sign saying Clement Lodge.
I'd like to see a picture of this here lodge, but aren't there some bushes along the property line between the vacant lot and his? Do you intend to remove those bushes, or will they still be there?
I've maintained everything on that line. It's a
That's not
border.
an answer to the question.
If it's on their property, I will not touch it.
No, but I'm talking about, okay, the bushes, are they on the vacant lot or are they on your lot?
They're a mix, a combination of both. They're on the border. And then,
Okay, what will happen to the bushes that are on your property line if you construct the garage where you're requesting to do it?
the only thing that'll be, I don't know if they're on my property, they may be taken out. If they're not on my property, they're just gonna be cut back into the property line.
So we've heard from the first four. Get to you folks. Are you guys together?
Yeah.
Are you separate?
No, we're together.
We're together. That was my guess.
Yeah.
I'm doing better. I screwed up on
No,
that
no,
one. You look like you're a couple.
They offended Emily.
I'm not about the town.
I just thought it was funny. We live on Mineral Springs. Our renter does use this space, that to either sit and picnic there, or they use it for whatever
Fishing.
purpose. Yeah, fishing. So we are not in favor of this.
Okay, but I mean, understand they're simply trying to get a little bit closer to the property boundary. There will still be 3.5 feet, of which some of that will be the overhang of the garage. So it will not encroach on the vacant lot. You do understand that?
Well, I understood too when we purchased our home and also purchased this rental home, that our renter would have use of this property, and if we decided we wanted to do something on this property, we would have the ability to, but having this restructured addition, not knowing what we may decide to do, is that gonna be in favor or not? So I'm just trying to understand how, I understand that there is some section
Our
of
future plans, possible future plans, could be directly affected by what they're asking for.
it could be directly affected in a positive manner. If there is something that is granted to them, to some extent, it makes it more likely that if you made a similar request, that your request would be granted.
Could we get that writing?
No.
In addition to
Good
that.
mention, I'll be here for another 20 years.
Well, in addition to that, we also, our property taxes have increased, and that's gonna be the same issue here. If we wanted to live and improve our home, we would either do so, or we would move to an area where we could, taxes being increased would not make a difference, but they do for us.
I guess anybody in your neighborhood that wants to improve their property will probably have to get some kind of a variation just because of the age of the neighborhood and how the zoning rules have changed over time. Where is your property in reference to theirs?
We're like
4 doors down.
2 doors down farther than him
Yeah.
on the property, but the other side, they're 2 doors down from me.
4, 5.
Okay, well, thank you for befuddling me. All right, so are you to the north of the subject property?
Yes.
Yes.
And you're within 1 or 2 homes north of the property?
3.
3.
5.
5.
5.
Okay. I can only visualize the first couple of homes north of the property. How old is your house?
So it's like 90, I think 90 years old, but the one that the rental is, I think it's 100.
It's
It's probably close.
Probably about 70.
Okay. If you know either home that you own was an older property either torn down or remodeled?
Remodeled, and I guess that's my point, is they knew what they were buying when they bought it. Just like when we bought our second property, we knew what our lot lines, we knew exactly what we were doing. We remodeled based on our lot lines, not infringing on anybody else's lot lines. I guess what's kind of annoying is they knew that what they were buying, work with what you have.
Okay, but the person that built the house was not subject to the lot line requirements of today. The rules were very different back then.
Okay.
They don't need it.
So you live on one of the homes in this neighborhood, correct?
Yes.
You own a boat?
Yes.
You own any other types of things like that? Kayaks, sailboats,
Motorcycles.
motorcycles?
Yeah,
Where do you store your motorcycles?
in our garage,
Why do you do that?
because it's our property and they're safe.
Okay? And if you were to have all of your mechanized things outside, if you didn't have a garage, would that be safe or would that be potentially subject to theft?
I think it's a safe area.
Would it not be a bit of an eyesore?
Well, there's sheds.
There's boats packed in people's yards, it's not like where we grew up in Rosemont, there's no B plates, there's no boats allowed, there's nothing allowed in your own driveway. Here, it's
I don't
completely
have a
different.
garage, my,
Our rental doesn't have a garage
Do you
either.
have a motorcycle?
no, I do not.
Okay, fine.
But I don't have a garage and my cars are safe.
Aren't there times that you wish that you had a garage so your car would be protected from the ice in the winter? and the
Yes, but I
storm?
know that probably I don't have the room for it, so I'm not gonna do it.
Anything else that this group of 6 wishes to say?
I have.
I know we're gonna get to that in a moment, I'm focused
Wait.
on, yes. Anything else?
No.
Okay.
Hi,
Hi, can you state your name for the record?
I'm Emily Eldridge. I live at 506 Mineral Springs Drive. I'm like kitty corner across the street from them.
Okay, and what do you wish to say?
My only concerns are about the water, contaminating the water in our, because we have an aquifer. And I noticed on the filing that it did say we were in a high probability of contaminating the aquifer. And their septic is 75 feet from our immediate neighbor to the south of me. They're at 505 or 504 Mineral Springs, directly across from the Davis's property. So that's my only concern, was the water, just protecting the aquifer, and also construction traffic in the neighborhood, because that section of Mineral Springs is narrower, as you saw. My house, we just have bushes lining our street line, and when they repaved it, they actually, the county actually thought they were gonna have to replace all of our bushes just from the repaving. So I just wanna make sure that like our properties and the adjacent properties around are not going to be damaged by the construction and debris and things like that of the project.
In reference to the septic, you heard the description of the existing septic system. did you
Yes, my understanding was that there is not an existing septic, and I may be wrong, it is a leach field? Is
There
that
is a
correct?
septic
Is there a
tank.
septic
Yeah,
tank
yeah,
there?
there's
Is it
in
just
the
one of
front.
the smaller ones?
It's a big one, it's a bigger one, but it's this, the field and that, like I said, they've got two separate systems.
Okay,
They got
okay.
one for gray water and one for the bath water,
Okay.
the toilets.
Okay.
So,
My only other request was that you guys would just come over and talk to all of us too, because we all had questions.
we haven't been out there,
We don't-
since we put the sign in and all that, we haven't been back out there, and like I said,
Right.
we're open with everybody, we have had no confrontation in 4 years out there. I don't know why all these, they're all upset, but we've never had confronted with
Well,
them,
they're
never.
existing property owners, and they have concerns, and they're allowed to address them.
And I've been trying to take care of that lot. They only cut that lot once every 2 weeks.
Well, we go out, I mean, you guys aren't, like you said, you're not there all the time, we call, not in a derogatory way, but we call folks like you guys summer home people, because we just know you're coming and going.
They seem to be losing control.
All right, we have audio being taken of the hearing, so
Okay.
if anybody speaks, we do.
Sorry, I'm Emily Eldridge.
Talking and just
Yes.
one at a time, please.
Emily, the description of the existing dual system I found to be somewhat frightening.
Yeah, it is, I mean, it is, and the people next to us have two little children. I also have, I have a child in the house, she's 13, almost 14, but these guys have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old, so.
Kim, for the record, can you state what they would have to do regarding the installation of a newer system?
For the septic,
Yes.
that is all handled through the health department. They've been approved for that through the health department.
Okay, but what does that process incorporate or require?
How does it protect the aquifer? I'm sorry.
So that is beyond my position. That would be something that we'd have to consult with the health
Does
department.
McHenry County take protection of the water areas very seriously?
Yeah, so if this is within a sensitive aquifer area, there is a maximum impervious surface that's regulated, and they have not gone beyond that. They won't with this addition. That is the only way that is regulated.
Okay, but would a newer system such as would be required, would that be an improvement over water quality versus what they currently have?
I would imagine there are a lot of older properties that have, dry wells or cesspools or things that, that aren't up to standards. So putting in a new system, I would imagine, would be an improvement to the property.
Do you have anything else that you wish to say?
Just construction, traffic and things like that, how that's gonna be mitigated for the neighborhood, for the flow of traffic in the neighborhood, people getting in and out. We did just have the road redone kind of thing, just making sure that that kind of stuff is addressed as well or looked at, just for the community as a whole, but that's it.
To the gentleman back there, I know you. You folks are petitioners on a different matter. That leaves you.
I just want to say real quick to answer your guys' question, or you brought the thing up. I just got my taxes in the mail last week. My taxes went down $1,600.
Ours didn't.
Ours
Okay, mine went down, maybe I was paying a little bit too much, but I didn't argue any points. I didn't do anything. It's still way cheaper than when I lived in Antioch, okay, in Lake County. And I just want to say that, and me and Phil have talked about the construction traffic. And I'm sorry for all the construction traffic I had on my.
2.5 years.
It was a year and a half. But anyways, it was a lot. It was really trying for everybody, and I've apologized to everybody. We had a lot going on in my house. I'm 3 doors down from him. And then talking about property lines, my neighbor's house, Bobby, his house is on the line. Ginny built that house on the line. There was no, and then with that 16 feet, he gives Bobby 8 feet. So there was a lot of rules that were broken back in the day.
But she owned all
Like,
those
she owned
properties.
those, she doesn't
She owned all of them, it
she's-
didn't matter. There's still pins.
For the record, would you state your name and state your
Yeah,
address?
David Brown, yep,
And what's your address?
513 Mineral Springs Drive.
Okay, I can presume what your opinion is, but officially, are you in favor of this request or are you against it?
I'm in favor of it, and the only, one reason why is because, you know, we want to improve the neighborhood, and there's differences on waterfront homes, okay, and then you get the neighborhoods behind, you know, and you tend to get, you know, the more luxury homes that are on the water, okay, and it's just natural, and it's going all along the whole Chain of Lakes area, that you're picking up older homes and they're redoing them, making them nicer, and, you know, with the garage, you know, I think the biggest thing was the garage going to be attached to the house or was it going to be on the street? Okay, if it's on the street, you're going to totally block everybody's view. If you have it back on the house attached, at least you have probably 60% more view from the piece behind it.
Can you state for the record where the garage is going to be located?
On the left-hand side attached to the house, so it'd be following the driveway right at the end of the driveway. So and it will have to go over into the entry door. We're gonna have to fill in part of our basement. Part of our basement's gonna have to be filled in because that's gonna be the garage. So we're gonna have to fill in part of our garage, our basement.
That's what you want.
But we want a two-car garage. I can't drive any of my cars out there and leave them out there with the rain. We've been through 2 hailstorms. We've had trees. We had a tree go down by our driveway. So it's not safe to leave anything out at night. We don't have anywhere to put a lawnmower, so we have to have a lawnmower service come out and cut our grass. We can't store anything.
I want to add one more point to the whole garage thing, a little bit news.
Can you state your name again, please?
David Brown.
Okay.
And I just want to say, you know, I do have a lot of cameras on my house, and even Jeanette and Bobby, my neighbors, have cameras on their house, and we've caught people lifting door handles and entering cars, okay, looking for change and stuff, and I have it on video, okay, and they take off on skateboards and whatever. So that's just one more reason to keep your things safe, whether you have cameras or you have whatever it is. And we like to say that we're improving the neighborhood. You know, change is not, you know, it's not welcome sometimes. The parking, we have, you know, Bob that had passed away across the street, where we used to park the truck. You know, me and Phil had talked about using parking, you know, using maybe my driveway for construction traffic coming in and out of my driveway and parking on that one part of the street.
And they can park on my grass as long as I don't put the septic in. I put the septic in last, then they can park on my grass the whole time.
But we've been trying to discuss the minimal impact on construction traffic. And honestly, when I did mine, I had like 5 different crews there, which was a big mistake. I'm not used to this.
Yeah.
Phil, this is what Phil does. This is his.
And I did buy that house with the intentions of doing this, because that's what I do.
As long as it doesn't affect our values.
It'll, your value of your house will go up.
I have a statement I'd like to make too.
Yes.
My name is Emily Eldridge. In regards to construction traffic, Dave, like you said, being on your property, you didn't even allow the construction trucks to park in your driveway after we voiced our concerns about them parking on the street.
Oh, they did park in my driveway and it
I would
destroyed
ask
it.
that any comments we make are relevant to the request that is
Yeah.
here and now.
Well, he said that they were discussing for construction traffic to be allowed on his driveway, which I was making the point, because even now, you have you have cars parked on that intersection there, which impedes the view of people turning onto Clement Lodge from Mineral Springs as well. So it's just my only comment.
Yeah, we
It's
don't
okay,
park,
you guys can
fine.
talk after the meeting.
Sure, thank you.
Kim, I'm still really concerned as to who owns the lot, that's the vacant lot, because I really do not see ownership in this deed.
I can look up the ownership if you want me to find who the actual lot is deeded to.
I believe that they're all, Thomas Gargi, I believe they're all joint and several, they have joint and several tenancies for the property that runs with their property. I mean, I say on that deed, but, because
There was tendered a deed which purported to indicate that, but it doesn't. Okay, we have some standards that we have to go through. I've given you that list. Does anybody else have anything else that they wish to add before we get to the next portion of this hearing?
Can I also just state for the record, I did receive an email from Jim Condon, the Highway Commissioner. He noted that he did not have any objections to the addition, but he did mention that you should apply for a permit with them so that they can monitor the roads to make sure that there's no damage to it during construction. Jim Condon, the Highway Commissioner.
Excuse me, sir, Connie Marsh? I do have the tax bill for the beach lot. It comes to my house for all of us.
And you're asking if this be part of the record?
Yes.
Does anybody know the number of the lot, of the vacant lot?
It's 13 or 16, 13 or 16?
13 and
Because there was 2
17.
lots at one point. And the neighbors took over one of them and we're not allowing that to happen again with the bigger lot.
On your tax bill, again, it only references lot 8 and the northerly portion of lot 9, and there's no reference to any such.
Did I bring the wrong tax bill?
No,
Okay.
no, I'm reading the simplified legal description, which is document number 2005R0057863, lot 8 and north part of lot 9, Clement.
Okay, that might be the tax bill for my house. I do get the tax bill for the beach lot to my house also. I apologize for grabbing the wrong one.
This would probably be for the vacant lot because
Then I have the wrong number.
this says you're paying no tax.
That's what I just.
So it's got to be something other than your house.
My husband is a disabled veteran, so that is correct.
Oh, okay, all right. I would ask you to take this back. I think this is on your personal residence.
Okay.
You don't want that.
I do get the tax bill for the beach lot sent to my house.
I think that's it.
This one, is this different than what I gave you?
I would ask if you could supply that.
Yeah, I can get it all, yes.
And for the record, can you state your name again?
Connie Marsh.
Thank you. All right. I've given you a list of things that we have to address. Either one of you can do it in terms of the.
Designated as beach, Clement Lodge.
Okay.
This one doesn't say. This is the one for my house.
The ownership for the vacant lot comes up as RF Jenny M. Clement.
Correct. Who was that?
That's the owner, those are the ones who built the subdivision. I don't know what year it was a long time ago. In the 1800s, Jenny Clement is the one who deeded that to us.
If it was deeded to you, it's not showing ownership by anybody other than Jenny Clement currently.
I think Jenny
there
Clement is still the owner of the lot.
Just the small part, not the lot we're talking about.
No, it's the brown house
I
is
have
that
some
small lot.
It is lot
old
17.
records at home, sir, that I could look up
That
and
small strip. Yeah.
Can we just state your name, please?
Maria Monstead.
All right, in reference to this hearing, my belief is that we can't conclude it today because we need to kind of determine what's happening. We've seen, there's been some testimony that's not consistent with the deeds, and we need to clarify who actually owns this lot, okay?
Okay.
So don't be offended if we don't finish this today, but I think we need to get that answer. Going back to the conditions, which one of you wishes to address them?
My wife will.
I'm beginning to think this whole concept is her idea, correct?
Well, I have an elderly mother and it's to get her in and out and it's okay.
Looking at number 1, the particular surrounding shape or topographical condition of the specific property involved would result in a particular hardship upon you, the owner, as distinguished from a mere inconvenience if the strict letter of the regulations were carried out. Can you address that, please?
Yes, we would like the 2-car garage and we are bound by the septic system, which is the only place for it to go. which is the only place for the garage to go.
And number two, the conditions upon which the application for a variation are unique to the property for which the variation is sought and are not generally applicable to other property within the same zoning district. Please address that.
We have a narrow lot with an old septic system. We do not have a washing machine, we do not have a dryer, and we do not have a garage. So we would like the garage for safety and security, and we would like to have a washing machine and a dishwasher in the home.
How old is the house? Or when was it constructed?
1935.
And Kim, what were the zoning rules in place back in 1935 in reference to this property?
We did not have a zoning ordinance in 1935, so there were no setback regulations through the county.
Okay. And when was the first zoning ordinance in effect that might have affected this
It
property?
was around 1946.
I'm presuming based on your age, you were not here then?
I was not.
Okay. And number three, the purpose of the variation is not based exclusively upon a desire to increase the monetary gain realized from the property. Can you address that?
No, it is not for monetary gain, it's to make the house a full-time livable residence,
And you intend to live there full-time?
potentially.
And you're not intending on flipping or immediately selling the property?
No.
And in reference to number four, the alleged difficulty or hardship is caused by the ordinance and has not been created by any person presently having an interest in the property. Can you address that, please? You didn't build the house, did you?
No.
And this house was built before the zoning ordinance was ever put in place regarding the property. Is that correct?
That is our understanding.
And number five, the granting of the variation will not be detrimental to the public welfare or injurious to other property or improvements in the neighborhood in which the property is located.
We do not believe so, no.
You've heard the neighbors' concerns. They're concerned about the vacant lot and potentially the ability to build on that. What impact, if any, would your request if granted have upon what they may hope to do?
I don't believe it will impact them at all. We're still staying within our lot boundaries. It's really the overhangs for the garage. It's just one small section that the overhangs are really gonna cause a problem for.
It will not cause a problem.
Yeah, but
It's all within the property
It's all within
confines.
the property confines, that's correct.
And number six, that the proposed variation will not impair an adequate supply of light and or air to adjacent property, or substantially increase the congestion in the public streets, or increase the danger of fire, or endanger the public safety, or substantially diminish or impair property values within the adjacent neighborhood. I would ask to kind of address this piecemeal fashion. I would ask to address the aspect of construction traffic other than the original response to this number six. It's not going to affect the supply of light and air to the adjacent vacant property,
No.
are you?
No.
And is there any danger that you would increase the danger of fire by what you're requesting in reference to the adjacent property?
Not that we are aware of. No.
If your request is granted, will you improve or impair the property values in the neighborhood?
Improve.
And why is that?
It will bring the house up to code, and it will actually be a safer, more energy efficient home.
Okay, one of the aspects would be the increased congestion in the public streets, and that could be caused by the construction traffic. How do you intend to handle that?
I planned on parking in the front yard and adequately planning that where I'm having multiple crews out there. It's not gonna be an overnight build. We're not gonna try to rush this build. We're gonna build the basement first. So only concrete trucks, we have a long driveway. We can fit 6 vehicles on our driveway alone. And if we wanted to park into our drive, so we could have 8 to 9 trucks in our yard. So
Okay, but your front yard is part of your septic system, and you can't
we
park
will
on
put
that.
we will put the septic in, will be the last part that we put in because of the construction and
No,
everything.
your existing septic is in part in the front yard, is it not?
It is in the front, we're gonna have to tear down the house, so we'll no longer be living in the house. The house will be no longer suitable for living, so.
Okay. Would that be a correct statement, Kim?
I am unaware of whether it is livable during construction.
This will, because we're taking everything down but 2 walls, so it's gonna be a rebuild complete all the way up.
Number 7, that the granting of the variation requested will not confer on you, the applicant, any special privilege that is denied by this ordinance to other land or structure within the same zoning district. Can you respond to that, please?
No, it will become a single-family home.
Your neighbors have concern that this is giving you a special privilege. Can you amplify on your answer?
I do not believe it is a special privilege. We're not looking to anger anybody. We'd like a 2-car garage to put our stuff in, to put our cars in for safety, to come in when the weather's inclement, so you're not walking outside and going into the house.
What prevents you from moving the garage 1.5 feet further north?
The septic.
The septic.
We've already, the variance of the septic.
That's the only place the septic can go.
We can't drive in, we're gonna have to put a little brick wall up just to show our driveway, we don't drive in the septic field.
Is that a correct statement, Kim?
Yes, they've actually already obtained a variance from the health department to allow the addition to be twice as close as it normally should be.
Anything else that you wish to say?
I would. We're not here, I believe we're all friendly. We're not here to anger anybody. You know, we understand your concerns, but we hope that you understand ours. We don't want that lot. We're not looking to buy that lot. It's next to our home. We want it to be just as beautiful for you and your kids and everybody's kids. We live next door to it. I think we've been friendly in wanting to help. You know, when the trees were out and we were cutting our trees down, the diseased trees, we came to you and said, we would like to help do this. We're trying to be friendly. We're not trying to be, you know, mean or aggressive or angry. It's about where we need to live.
And I think we can build a house there without a variance. We just bring in, do something different with the garage. So we can build a house there without going through a variance. We just want a 2-car garage.
As mentioned, this is going to have to be continued because I do want to get the information about the vacant lot. Anything else anybody else wishes to say without repetition?
I just feel that they want to be so friendly that if they would have come to us and discussed this without just posting a sign, that we would have been much more into letting this happen. But we walk down the street and we see a sign posted and then had to look it up. I don't think that's being friendly.
Isn't that the way you're supposed to
It's
do
a
it?
garage on the property.
I would suggest that if
The
we...
first sign was on your house, so nobody could see it.
Yes.
No, we put it out when we were supposed to have it by Monday night. We put it out Sunday day, the day before the.
Because there's going to be continuation, I suggest you talk to your neighbors. Okay. I told my friend, who was a extremely good zoning lawyer that did all the zoning of all the gravel pits in McHenry County outside of the city of McHenry, talk to your neighbors when he was trying to get his church relocated in his neighborhood. He didn't talk to his neighbors. We had to move the hearing, so many people showed up. You guys should talk in the interim, see if you can't resolve whatever differences you have. What would the next?
It would be June 10th at 11 a.m.
Okay. We're going to continue this to June 10th. I will introduce into the record the documents that have been tendered. And thank everyone for showing up and conducting this in the proper manner, except for you, the tricky one.
I'm always the troublemaker. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Which one did you want to do next?
Well, I don't like him because I'm kind of jealous of his property, so we're going to take you two patient people next.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope you guys are easier to deal with.
I hope so.
I don't know. I'm a bit nervous.
For the record, would you state your names, please?
Julius R. Hoffman.
And Deborah Hoffman.
And please keep your voice up a little bit. Not only am I deaf, but we want to make a record if we can.
Same.
What are you hoping to do today?
Yes, put a shed. We live on a corner, have a little over an acre, or plus be able to purchase a lot back us. So we actually have two front yards, Glenwood and Eastwood. And on Glenwood side, we once got a variance for a pool at that same location. As you would see on the picture, we eventually had it done. We thought someday we could build a shed. And the purpose of the shed, anyway, we need a variance because it's our front yard then again, and then it's too close to the line or street, or we have to have a variance for it, as we did when we had the pool.
But you have two lots, correct?
Correct.
Yes, this is on the back lot.
Yeah, and if this request were to be granted, you'd have to combine the two lots into one deeded lot, is that correct?
Well, I guess that's what I thought we could do. We knew that we were told that we would never be able to sell it, never have an intention to sell it. I do too much gardening. I couldn't let it go.
Well, we were told that, you know, if there were two separate lots, we'd just have to sign something that state that we would not sell the back lot, you know, separately.
Yeah, but combining it is what we always thought we wanted to do. I mean, if that's doable.
I hate to ask, but did you talk to your neighbors?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they didn't mind when we had the pool there. It's at the same spot, and they're all delighted. I have to say just one little thing about myself. My property, I do a lot of gardening. I'm in the garden club in McHenry, but that's my passion. It's my 8-hour-a-day work job. And in 1918, I was selected by McHenry County Master Gardeners Club from the whole county to have my property show. So I'm very proud, and I keep it beautiful. And the neighbors love it when they walk through our subdivision. All the streets go all over, and many come in to visit, I have to say.
I should do some housekeeping, which I might have forgotten to do on the others. For the record, the applicants are Deborah A. Hoffman and Julius R. Hoffman, owners of record. They are requesting a variation within the R1V single-family residential district to allow for a setback of 22 feet from the required 50 feet from the north lot line for a detached accessory structure in the affected street yard. And the location, the subject property consists of approximately 646,000 acres and is located approximately 100 feet west of the intersection of Glenwood Lane and Eastwood Lane in McHenry County Township, Illinois. The property is directly west of and associated to 1311 North Eastwood Lane, McHenry, Illinois. PIN or tax would be 09254511035. Current land use is designation of vacant, and the adjacent land use to the north, south, and east would be single-family residential. To the west would be open space. The current zoning is R1V, single-family residential, and R1 single-family residential would be the adjacent zoning for the north, south, and the west. And to the east would be R1V, single-family residential. The property is designated residential on the land use map, and the improvements would be none. The property is currently vacant. And we do have some standards that we have to go through.
Sure.
Do you have those in front of you?
Uh-oh.
Nope.
Not sure.
Looks like that piece of paper.
Oh, yes, this one right here.
Keep
Oh,
that.
sir.
You're fine.
Okay. Then Kurt gave it to me.
Pay attention. This one will hopefully be easier.
Okay.
Isn't it true? Does she listen?
You're married, aren't you?
She didn't identify you as her passion. I was just wondering.
57 years.
Congratulations.
61 years together.
And isn't it true that the particular surrounding shape or topographical condition of the specific property involved would result in a particular hardship upon the owner as distinguished from a mere inconvenience if the strict letter of the regulations were carried out? Isn't that true?
Yes.
Yes.
And isn't it also true that the conditions upon which the application for a variation are based are unique to the property for which the variation is sought and are not generally applicable to other property within the same zoning district? Isn't that true?
Yes.
Isn't it also true that the proposed, strike that. Isn't it also true that the purpose of the variation is not based exclusively upon a desire to increase the monetary gain realized from the property? Isn't that true?
Yes.
Isn't it also true that the alleged difficulty or hardship is caused by the ordinance and has not been created by any person presently having an interest in the property? Isn't that true?
Yes.
Isn't it also true that the granting of the variation will not be detrimental to public welfare or injurious to other property or improvements in the neighborhood in which the property is located? Isn't that true?
Yes.
Isn't it also true that the proposed variation will not impair an adequate supply of light and or air to adjacent property or substantially increase the congestion in the public streets or increase the danger of fire or endanger the public safety or substantially diminish or impair property values within the adjacent neighborhoods? Isn't that true?
Yes.
And the location of the shed would not in any way impede sight lines or traffic, even though you live on a corner lot. Isn't that true?
True.
Yes.
Isn't it also true that the granting the variation will not confer on you, the applicant, any special privilege that is denied by this ordinance to other land or structure within the same zoning district? Isn't that true?
Yes.
Yes.
Anything else, Kim, that you wish to add?
I don't believe so.
Okay. I would be in favor of this request, so it would go to the county board. And that meeting would be again?
June 17th at 7 p.m.
So you only need a majority of the current board members in attendance at that meeting. You do not have to go to that. I would tend to suspect that they would approve it. Okay? Good luck.
Thank you. No machinery in that. This is all about me and my gardening and my flowers.
Oh, come on, include him.
Well, she's included me enough in that garden, don't worry.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good luck, guys. Thank you for your patience.
We should have been first.
Thank you,
Thank you very much.
Kit.
Good luck, guys.
And Kim, thank you guys. They helped us so much on this. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Well, have a good day.
Okay, you too.
I think you're dead meat.
Yeah, we're going in the room alone with Mike. I was gonna do you first if you'd shown up.
I was bouncing around. I apologize about being late.
Just
That's fine.
I'm like that walking.
I assumed you were lost because I certainly got lost when I left your house last night. Would you please stand to be sworn? You promise to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. And for the record, would you state your name and your address, please?
Sure. Patrick Kalamatis, 2216 Colby Drive, McHenry, Illinois, 60050.
And for the record, he is the applicant of the subject property, and he is requesting a variation within the R1 Single Family Residential LN District to allow for a setback of 3.6 feet from the required 5 feet from the north lot line for a detached accessory structure. The location of the subject property that consists of approximately 0.32 acres and is located approximately 145 feet from the intersection of Colby Drive and Colby Point Road. Common street address is 2216 Colby Drive, McHenry, Illinois, Township of Nunda. Tax or PIN would be 1413227-024. Property is designated single-family residential on the current land use map. To the north is the Fox River, and to the southeast and west would be single-family residential. And the property is zoned currently R1 Single-Family Residential District /LN. And to the north,
unknown caller.
Sorry about that. Okay, and to the north would be the Fox River, and south, east, and west would be R1 Single Family Residential /LN. The 2030 plan has this residential environmentally sensitive area, and the property is improved with a frame residence with a wood porch asphalt pavement, chain link fence, frame garage. And what are you hoping to do?
We're hoping to get approval for the garage, where we took the old structure, added onto it straight backwards, just to make it more functional. It was a single car garage before with a ceiling height or garage door height of less than 7 feet, so we couldn't get SUVs in there. Lacked storage, lacked functionality, so we wanted to make it more functional, usable, since we're now living at the property. So just for extra, like I said, storage cars, kids stuff, yard stuff, all those kinds of things, so.
Is there currently an existing garage on the property?
Yes.
And what will happen to that portion of the structure if you seek to add on to the garage?
That's the actual structure right there. What's shown in the upper left.
Okay, so is this the completed?
Yes.
Okay, so Kim, what is the history in reference to that?
So we did open a violation for the work being done without a permit. He has since applied for the permit. So pending the variation, if it is granted, then he'll be able to get that approved and final inspected.
Okay. How much of the newly constructed garage is new versus how much was still there with the old structure?
Yeah, my understanding is that the 20 by 18 garage frame basically was kept intact, and the extension was put on the back of that. So the original garage is in its same footprint, and then plus the addition.
Okay. So had he left the original garage there, it would have been legal.
Correct.
And with the addition, he's really not any closer to the lot line than the original structure would have been, correct?
Correct. There's a very slight angle on the garage that does put the back corner inches closer, but it still maintains that same building line along the north lot line.
Yes, you are allowed to participate.
Yep, so looking at the drawing, I thought the same. I physically went on site and measured it. Believe it or not, it actually does go away. So if you measure it from the front of the original structure, the front corner, it's closer. By the time you get to the back, it's just over 5 feet from the edge of the trim on the siding to the chain link fence. The fence on the survey shows on our property. The survey's from like 2 years ago. But,
and there's no concern about the septic system being impacted. There appears to be
Correct. That's in
considerable
the back of the house.
Right.
The septic.
And the new portion of the garage actually is farther off the road line than the back end of your neighbor's garage to the north. Is that correct?
correct.
So you're not impeding any of his light or air or anything along those lines?
I would say no.
And the street that you are on is a fairly quiet street?
Yes.
It takes some difficulty to find?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
Not a lot of traffic? We do have to go through these standards, so let me give this to you.
Thank you.
At this point, you should be an expert on these. I think you should the last copy. Nope. Isn't it true that the particular surrounding shape or topographical condition of the specific property involved would result in particular hardship upon you, the owner, as distinguished from a mere inconvenience if the strict letter of the regulations were carried out? Isn't that true?
Yes.
Good answer. Isn't it also true that the conditions upon which the application for variation are based are unique to the property for which the variation is sought and are not generally applicable to other property within the same zoning district? Isn't that true?
Yes.
Isn't it also true that the purpose of the variation is not based exclusively upon a desire to increase the monetary gain realized from the property? Isn't that true?
Yes.
Isn't it also true that the alleged difficulty or hardship is caused by the ordinance and has not been created by you, the owner, the person who presently has an interest in the property. Isn't that true?
Yes.
Is it also true that the granting the variation will not be detrimental to public welfare, injuries to the property, or improvements in the neighborhood in which the property is located? Isn't that true?
Yes.
Is it also true that the proposed variation will not impair an adequate supply of light and air to adjacent property, or substantially increase the congestion in the public streets, or increase the danger of fire, or endanger the public safety, or substantially diminish or impair property values within the adjacent neighborhood? Isn't that true?
Yes.
Is it also true that the granting of the variation requested will not confer upon you, the applicant, any special privilege that is denied by this ordinance to other land or structure in the same zoning district? Isn't that true?
Yes.
If your neighbors had a similar situation, made a similar request, would you be in favor of that request, or would you be opposed to it?
I would be in favor.
Kim, anything that you wish to add?
No, nothing further.
Have you talked to any of your neighbors, and if so, what have they said?
Yeah, everybody has been supportive, and there's a gentleman that's been in the neighborhood for decades. He owns multiple properties in there, and he's got family in there, living in there too on them. And he said he's talked to many people, and nobody had a gripe about it or a bad thing to say, so.
For the record, I would be in favor of this request. I have been to the subject property. It does not in any way impede onto the neighbors, and it's a very nice improvement to the property.
Thank you.
So, as mentioned, mine is only a recommendation. That does not give you approval. It goes to the county board for their approval.
Yes, sir.
And that meeting again, Kim, is?
June 17th, 7 p.m.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate all your time. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
This goes in the record.
You can drop in anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you.